one right there. You see that thing? Yeah, see it. Go.
How's it going, everybody? Brad and I, when we were at USC, before we did all of this when we were in school, we used to do audio for like conventions and stuff at USC. So we're weird about audio. I think we'll simple it. But, yeah, no, okay.
That's all right, we'll move on.
All right, let me see. Oh, here we go. My first keynote presentation by Freddie and Brandon. First of all, let me ask how you guys feeling out there? Feeling good? Who's excited for this weekend of revelry that lies before us? I love everything's here. It's great. Welcome, everybody, to Rooster Teeth Expo 2012. Woo! One long, protracted screen. First of all, we should explain who we are. My name is Freddie Wong.
And I'm Brandon Launch.
And together we run the YouTube channel, youtube.com/FreddieW. We've said that little back and forth many times, as you can probably
It's gotten
tell.
smoother over the years.
We've worked out all the kinks, it's great. So, when they asked us originally to do the keynote presentation, we were a little bit like, well, I don't know, what are we supposed to talk about? Luckily, Brandon ran into him over a video.
Yeah, no, we had some keynote presentations. Like, what goes next? It's like the only keynotes we know are like there's like the Apple keynote. There's
I was like, did they bring my turtleneck?
and then we watch like TED Talks, and like that's not really a keynote, I guess. But what is a keynote presentation?
Right, so we asked him, like, well, did you run into, was it Gus, or who was it that you ran into? Said, like, last, oh yeah. So like last year, well, don't worry about it, because last year the keynote presentation consisted of a guy yelling, let's all party!
Yeah, that was it. So we'll do a little longer than
We'll go a little longer. And I don't like the idea of presentations, really, because we're not very good at doing presentations. What we are good at is just sort of talking about who we are, what we do, and where we come from. For those who aren't familiar, we make basically short, VFX-driven, video game-inspired action shorts on YouTube. We've been doing them pretty much one a week since we started in 2010, March 2010. And we've been doing it full-time ever since. And of course, when we started, we've been well familiar with the whole landscape of all this stuff. We've been watching YouTube for a while, we've been watching online video for a while, been watching Red versus Blue for a while. And so that's sort of where the world that we came into. And it was a lot of fun. So a lot of people have a lot of questions for us, like, how did you guys get into this? You guys are in LA, I went to film school. We met at USC, and we lived on the same floor freshman year. It's like, well, how does all this tie into film school? And do you guys want to make movies in Hollywood and stuff like that? So I guess we should just sort of talk about our history, what we were doing before, and sort of give you, and share some stories about all this hilarious stuff that we've come across over these last 2 years of making short online videos for a living. So what did we do before YouTube? We lived with Sam and Nico from Quarter Digital, if you guys know that channel as well. This is Sam modeling a camera, and that's being incredibly excited about it.
Basically, Sam and Nico and I all went to high school together back in Stillwater, Minnesota. And so after
we got some Stillwater up in this.
Do we have some Minnesota? There we go.
Oh yeah. Real good.
Oh yeah, we do.
Oh yeah.
So during high school, Sam, Nico, and I, we made like short action shorts together. And,
which some of them you can still find.
Some of you can still find. All of them use licensed music. It was before those days.
I remember I'd actually seen their stuff in high school because I was making short movies. I was over in Seattle, Washington, doing stuff with my friends as well. And I remember seeing like you guys had like this Metal Gear Solid short and stuff. You guys are on an old sort of video effects website. And the funny thing was, before I'd ever met Brandon, I did an explosion for one of the movies I was doing in high school. And I was looking around and I found this explosion like stock footage on this site, so I totally pirated it.
It was super awesome.
And then I overlaid it in one of my movies. And then fast forward like 3 years later, I'm in the dorms at USC, and I'm like, hey guys, let's all watch each other's movies.
First thing, we were on the cinema floor at the dorms at USC, so the first thing that everybody did was, like everybody kind of went from room to room and everybody watched, they wanted to see where we were at before we started, at USC, so everybody's like exchanging and showing their stuff to each other.
Yeah, and so I pulled up, and there's an explosion. And Brand's like, that explosion looks familiar. Oh, how so? I was like, well, let me show you. And we go over to his room, and he has that explosion. And in that explosion, you set it off a little bit hot, right?
Well, we were having problems at the time because we were trying to develop how to do Hollywood quality special effects explosions. We were trying to figure out how to do it, and of course on all
in the middle of Minnesota,
all the DVD extras they weren't telling us their secrets, and so we were trying to piece it together. Like we would watch the DVD extras, we wouldn't pay attention to what they were saying, but we look in the background and you'd see a guy like working with a pail of gas. You'd see a guy working with some gas to the lifter. All right, we got to figure this out. We were piecing it together, and we were experimenting around with some various different chemicals at the time.
Which, if any of you guys want to try this, don't. It's not safe.
I'm not going to go into too many details, but we were having a problem with our gas igniting, and so our solution was to pre-light the gas before setting off the charge. I went in to light it, and the whole thing went off. And this is the only one I've ever had go off at an unsafe distance, but it turned out it was a safe distance, which was just fine, because I just went flying back.
And if you look at this explosion in this movie I made in high school, you see a silhouette of a dude flying back.
So it actually made it into Freddie's video. He didn't wrote
So
it
somehow, Brad and I were working together before we even met each other. Hilariously. But we met at USC, and we bonded over action movies, and like John Woo movies, and like Hard Boiled, and just all that awesome stuff, which I think might be lacking today in terms of like action movies. But
We're trying to bring it back.
so we were doing that, and then we, afterwards, I worked briefly at 20th Century Fox in the licensed games division, which, as you guys know, any move-in tie-in games, like usually Game of the Year contenders, all of them. So the Ice Age game for 360, PS3, and DS. Just a whole bunch of really horrible games.
Yeah. Before that, interestingly, having basically freshman year, YouTube came out, and for us, having basically cut our teeth when we were putting the videos up originally online, we had to find hosting. That was always the hurdle. And so when YouTube came out, I remember the day that Freddie made a YouTube account, he came running over to me, he's like, oh, you gotta check out this site, it's free. It's so cool. I'm like, how's this magic working? It's like you don't have to pay anybody. No hidden charges, nothing.
Who remembers Real Player? Right? That was like back in the day when we watched videos. It was like, oh, I gotta get a Real Player.
Yeah. So
Shockwave.
So as soon as he came out, and the funny thing is, around the rest of the cinema floor didn't seem to be too enthusiastic about it. They're like, well, this is just a step further away from film. We want to be making 35mm movies, and we're like, no, this is awesome. Now instead of getting just your mom and your dad and your cousins to watch something, you can watch, you can share it with the world, and people watch it, they don't watch it. So we became very interested in online video from that point and how it's expanding.
So we kept an eye on YouTube, and then a few years later, after we graduated, and I did my briefs at Fox, we were like, all right, let's concentrate on YouTube. Let's do YouTube. Let's see if we can do it for a living. And we met some guys who were doing it for a living, and they're like, yeah, it's totally feasible. So we're like, all right, we're going to set our minds, so we're going to do 6 months of YouTube. And we're going to take all of our rent and put it in a pile, and we're like, all right, these 6 months is our, don't spend this money because this is rent in case everything doesn't work out pile.
Our philosophy with doing things is you can never, especially with any artistic medium, you can never compete with people who are doing things 5 days a week, 7 days a week, if you're just doing it 2 days a week on weekends. Until you're ready to drop everything and try to just make as much time as you possibly can for it, it's going to be really tough to compete with that, because no matter how, your skill is never going to outweigh their time and dedication.
So it's like, we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, because we're like, well, why YouTube? What was our experience before that? So we were doing direct-to-DVD, direct-to-TV feature films. Sam and Nico Cordero directed a film called Dark Island, and I produced a film called Bear. And these are, the posters are much better than the movies, by the way. So what's kind of funny about this is this weird world where, at the time, if you had a B-list actor, right, and had their name on the front, you could sell that movie, no matter what that movie was, to international markets for TV, for DVD in Spain, for TV in Germany. And you could make like a couple $1 million doing it. You spend like $1 million making this movie, make a couple million back. It's pretty, it's a pretty good way of just sort of chugging along, making a living. The movies don't even have to be any good, which is why if you ever go to like a grocery store and you look at their TV thing, you're like, Lawrence Fishburne's in this? What is this? That's all these movies. That's where all of those come from, where it's like all these actors are getting paid. I mean, we even worked on, when we were doing freelance video effects, we worked on Brittany Murphy's last movie. And we were doing things like little cleanup visual effects. Like the shot would go and be like, there's a crew member in this shot, and he'd just completely leave it. And we're like, why did that guy just not like get out of the shot. 'Cause he's like crouched like this. Right, so we have to delete him, right? And yeah, we weren't really getting paid that well to do ridiculous stuff like that. So that's what we were working on. And what was really like horrible about that, what we weren't used to, because remember, we're coming from like high school, we're showing our movies to our friends, and it's like they're right away, they're like, oh hey, like getting feedback right away. We worked on like Dark Island. I was working on Bears months and months and months before we heard anything.
9 months of straight work for $250.
Yeah, that's true. We got paid in the end of it a fat $250 check. So
It was in the
I did the entire musical score and sound design for Dark Island, $250.
That was the biggest insult check we've ever gotten, where we were working on it for free, and the guys were like, Christmas time came, and they came over to our place and they saw that we didn't really have heat or anything like that, and they came over and they're like, you know what, you guys are working really hard. We want to show you how much we appreciate you. And they give us $250 for the year.
We calculated it out, and it was like in the hundredths of a cent per hour was what we were getting. Like, it would have been better, like an Applebee's gift card would have been better than this. But there was no feedback. Like we put it out, we worked 9 months, and just we would hear nothing. And we're like, well, how was that movie? How can you improve if you never hear any feedback from what you do? You just do it, and it goes out, and you just go on to your next project. So it didn't seem like a way of getting better. So the first time we found anything about Dark Island,
that our movie
existed in the world, our friends at the Pirate Bay. Dark Island, what we got? We got Ken Elsa, we got the X-Vid, AC3, real Russian women, as opposed to fake Russian women, I suppose. Bear, of the Pirate Bay. Here's the latest torrents on, not a lot of cedars, but this movie came out 2 years ago and it's a direct-to-DVD movie, so what do you expect? Bear, by the way, much harder to find on the pirate networks because of its generic name. So if you guys ever want to make something that like takes you 10 minutes to find as opposed to 1 minute, name it a generic noun. Much harder to search. What does the Pirate Bay think about our movies? Sir tanked a lot. I had to go to Google Translate for this one. Undeserved battery on IMDb should be higher. A totally okay movie. Thank you for that, Smiley. Bear, this is a load of shite. Don't waste. Thanks for the up. And then the next guy. Thanks. And the funny thing is,
that's a funny comment because it's like, this was really bad, but thanks, probably. It's like,
and it's like, you guys are just collecting movies, right?
It's really bad, and the portions are so small.
But thank you. Now, you hear this a lot in Hollywood, right? You see those PSAs before movies, or it's like, stunt guys like, I worked really hard at this movie, and when you pirate it, you're hurting me. Doing the work that I got prepaid for, you're hurting me somehow. And I was like, well, how would you feel if your thing got pirated by a bunch of people? I can tell you that exactly how we would feel. It feels totally awesome to get yourself pirated. It's great. Because it proves that we were watching it. We were so pumped. We were like, download the 700 meg one, download the 1.3 gig one. We got you picture quality on this. The highlight of our career. So that's what's cool about YouTube. That's what's cool about online video. You get feedback right away. You put something out, people see it, they respond to it right away. Within seconds, you just see the views start to go in. And the thing about YouTube, when we first started, March 2010, it was kind of an interesting place. We were talking to some of the other partners, and they were like, hey, what are you guys doing? We're doing like sort of visual effects and stuff. And okay, well, yeah, that'll be hard to do. Like, well, really? Why? Like, well, you know that, and this is established fact at the time, YouTube is all female. Like, everyone on YouTube are girls. I mean, look at my subscriber base, all girls. Like, I feel like dudes also use YouTube, because I'll do a quick survey of everyone, I'd be like, roughly even, so it's like, really, all girls? It's bizarre, right? Like, well, what was your plan? We get asked a lot, what did you guys plan going in? Like, did you know that you guys would, find an audience, and did you know that your videos would be viewed? And I'm like, well, we're dudes. We like action movies, we like blowing stuff up. We like video games. I think odds are there are other dudes like that on the internet. I feel like we're on
So we took the field of dreams mentality that if you build it, they will come. Basically started the YouTube channel, started posting stuff up, and it turns out there were guys on the internet that like guns and action and video games and stuff like that.
And there are guys who like guns in real life too. So we have a little story. So we were shooting the rocket jump, and as you can see right here, this was like a friend of mine in LA. He lived next to this abandoned lot. And there's just tons of graffiti on it. There's an abandoned couch.
Echo Park.
We have no idea what that car is. Like, we don't know who owns it. It was just there. It was just like a weird place. It used to be a house. I was like, dude, this is a really cool place. You should just shoot something here. So we did. We're in the middle of shooting, and a black Suburban pulls up. And and rolls the window down. And inside are the 4 hardest looking dudes you have ever seen. Like
4 OGs.
OGs, like tattoos, hand tattoos. Like you don't get hand tattoos unless like you're committed to a life of
Fully tattooed, uncoverable tattoos.
uncoverable tattoos, that kind of tattoo. And the guy rolls out and is like, hey man, what are you guys doing here? Right? We make movies, YouTube movies. This is what we do.
You guys know where you are, right?
Now, where are we?
You guys are in the hellhole.
We call it that.
That's because people come here to die.
I'm like, oh boy. And Red, meanwhile, we're sitting here like, this could go bad. Like, yeah, this is our neighborhood, man. This is our
That's like the neighborhood watch. These are like Echo Park OGs. This was their place. We were in it and we were filming it. And so we had to come up with an idea to come up with it quick.
So Brandon goes like, hey, get the rocket launcher prop that we're using. Just
We had a real, the AT4 we were using for the rocket launcher was a real one that had already been shot. You know, you can buy
the training run actually. Yeah, and so the guy runs up like, hey, check this out. And they go from the most intimidating people in the world. Oh man, that's so cool! Like, yeah, I used to shoot those in the army, and we totally had this like bonding experience over guns. And they're like, oh, this is so cool. What's your channel again? Oh, when can we see this? And all this stuff. Totally flip 180. So guns bring people together. That's the moral of the story. So we were working on YouTube videos. We were like staying indoors. Like when we worked on YouTube videos, we worked like a long time on them. Like generally, if someone asks us like, "What's your sort of typical like, what's a long work day for you?" And I'm like, 10 a.m. to 10 a.m. usually. A lot of all-nighters. We basically, for the last 2 years, I think, probably about an all-nighter a week, right before we finish.
About 1 a week, yeah.
Which is probably not healthy in any way, but.
Thanks to Monster for the sponsorship.
Yeah, exactly. But see, what's good, we couldn't do it. We didn't really love what we were doing, you know? So we would occasionally go out, we'd go see a movie, something would come out, and then we noticed we started to get recognized on the street. And people want to take photos with us. Mostly dudes. And generally, if it's girls, it's, hey, you know, guys want to take a picture for their Facebook wall, girls want to take a picture for their boyfriend's Facebook wall. Ever the opposite.
It's really great when a guy's walking along with his date. He's walking along, he's all smooth, so he's like, oh! And he like quickly thrusts his camera to his girl, and he's like,
and her, and also everybody else walking by, something that we noticed, they have no freaking clue who we are. They look at us like, who are these guys? And LA, by the way, a place where you are expected to occasionally run into the occasional celebrity. They're like, who are these guys? Oh, they must be famous. And then they'll ask them, hey, who's that guy over there? It's like, oh, they make YouTube videos. And like,
because normally the answer is, say someone's like with Brad Pitt, for some whatever reason, this other person doesn't know who Brad Pitt is. They're like, who is he? They're like, oh, he's a movie star. They're like, oh, cool.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter who he is, right? He's a movie star. But we had something with the YouTube videos that wasn't like to them that doesn't click. Like, oh, that's I don't know, that's cool. I don't know what that is.
And so it's like we realized we're not like celebrities. We're not totally unknown, but we're in this weird kind of in-between place. Is there an in-between word? The word that I've heard somebody use is celebrities, but it makes it sound like you have a speech impediment. So. But there's this weird like middle ground. It's like middle class celebrity where you're not known to just anyone walking down the street, but to a niche community, to a certain group of people, you're pretty well known.
And it's something that's really enabled only by the internet.
Yeah, it's this new thing that's been, because you can find content now, because us as content creators can go find you guys as an audience, it's something that you couldn't do before. And it's just opened up all these sort of niche pockets. You see it everywhere. You see it in movies, you see it online, you see it in music too. You know, there's bands where it's like, they're able to support themselves, and they're well known, right? So here's an example. One of the bands we used for one of the episodes for our latest web series, Video Game High School. Who knows a Proto Man? Here and there, right? They play Penny Arcade Expo every year. Like they're able to support themselves as a band, but as you can see, it's like it's a very sort of niche thing that they're able to support themselves regardless because of the internet. So we're this weird somewhere between. And we realized the thing about niches is niches ain't shit. Niches can be huge. And because niche usually used to mean what? It used to mean like a small, sort of very concentrated thing. So right here, this is a heat map of all of our views in the year of 2011. And this is sort of illustrate our, I pulled this last night from YouTube. This is sort of illustrate sort of the reach that we've been able to have, right? So the United States, 2011, what do we have? 169 million, all right? Country like Russia, 3.9 million. Country like China, where, by the way, YouTube is completely banned by the firewall. You can't even get YouTube in the country. Somehow, 38,000. How does that work? Which is funny because I was in China like when we were doing a video, and I was like, I better update it, and I was like, I can't. Oh boy. I had to do a little political dissidence. I didn't ever update the video. And they were like, well, the rest of Asia too. South Korea, 1.2. Wait a minute. North Korea. 3 views in North Korea? Hold on a second.
Let's drill deeper.
There's like 3 people in the country who can access the internet. Hold on, let's drill deeper here. What do we got? The 3 videos that North Korea is using. Number 1, a video with the word Splinter Cell in the title. Number 2, time for a shootout. Number 3, a video called Huge Guns. The funny thing about that is we asked all of our friends, like, guys, check your North Korean views. Who else has done it? And we had our friend Henry used to work with us. He does a channel called Minute Physics, which he explains physics in 1 minute. He had 1 view from North Korea. The title of his video was, What is Fire? And then, so we're like, you know what? That's Kim Jong-il. That's Kim Jong-il watching our videos from North Korea. How do we know that? 2011, this was it. 2012, no data available. What happened between 2011 and 2012? Got it. So even Kim Jong-il, are watching our stuff. It's like these videos have like this global reach. And we're like, this is great, this is awesome, this is like the future of entertainment, this will be amazing. By the way, this picture is I Google image searched it. It was the best one I could find for Hollywood. So meanwhile, a story from about 3 months ago, we were working on stuff, we got a call from a pretty major Hollywood production company. Unfortunately, I'm under NDA, so I'm going to be vague, but the point of the story is not that. And they called us in, like, oh my gosh, it's these guys, we better wear our good shirts to this interview. So we wore a button up. We're like, okay, this is going to be serious. We drive down over there. We're actually 10 minutes early to the interview, which never happens with us, by the way. You'll notice that we came in here like 30 seconds before we were supposed to start. We go in there and we sit down with them. We're like, okay, what's this going to be? Maybe they've seen our videos. They want to talk about the project. Like, oh man, this is like the big break. This is going to be it. Like, okay, we're adapting well-known book series to traditional media, and there's like all kinds of like references. There's like pop culture references in this book series. There's like references to other fiction, all that stuff. We want you guys to spend 6 months and write the guide for this series. Basically, research all the references from all the books and write down what they are, so when the people who make the movies get to this project, they can look up anything in there. Like what? You know that we make movies too, like, you're nerds, it's great, you guys are perfect for this. I'm like, man, really? Sit around and like basically write like the Wikipedia entry for this, but just by yourselves, and then paying like this a ridiculous amount of money for it, like just like nothing. It's like, man.
Ridiculously small amount.
Ridiculously small.
Not ridiculous.
Like, man, Hollywood like, really just doesn't have any idea whatsoever what to do with us. And we get this question a lot. So you see Hollywood, right? You sort of see what's coming out, right? New Spider-Man, well, not new Spider-Man, right? I mean, who's seen this? Who's seen the new quote-unquote new Spider-Man? How is that? Or it's kind of like whatever.
Awesome.
Are you a little bit bummed? Just this is a tangent, but are you guys just a touch bummed that like medieval England had like King Arthur as their myth, right? There's like the Epic of Gilgamesh, right? And from what's ours? In like 400 years, they'll be like, yes, the man spider of the 21st century. It's a great myth of their time. Ah, great power, great responsibility. Like that's what we have to work with. So great, fantastic. No. Exactly. So that's our great myth at the time. They kept remaking this great myth of the man spider. So this is a really cool graph that I found on shortlyweek.com. It's basically top 10 films grossing over each decade. And the colors, really all you have to care about is the blue, cyan color. Those are original IP movies. And gray and red are sequels or remakes of stuff that already exists. So this is the span of time. The over the last 30 years is what we got to deal with. And that's what's making money. Everyone's like, whoa, why do we see so many sequels? It's like, I don't blame Hollywood.
Yeah, everyone blames Hollywood. Hollywood sucks. But here's the thing: they're just out there to make money, and so it's up to us really. It's up to us as far as what we watch, what we do, and so it's really all our fault. Because what have we done over the last 10 years? It's like we went out, we bought nice TVs, we got fast computers, we got fast internet for our torrents, and we stopped going and seeing as many movies per year. And so now the only movies that we go see, rather than seeing say 12 movies a year, we go see 4 movies a year, and we pick the big ones. And so basically the middle fell out for movies, and all that's left is the little ones, which some people still remain that really love going to the movies. They go to lots of them.
The Art House, Alamo Draft House here,
the Dark Knight Rises and stuff like that. And
so it's like, let's say I had $200 million to spend. Would you guys spend it on something that you know is pretty safe, another iteration, like Twilight 4, another Harry Potter, another Transformers, or would you try something like Inception? I know that everyone wants more Inception, but like from their point of view, it's like it only makes sense. Like everything else is going down, they have to be betting on safe stuff. So if you're looking for,
sure, in retrospect, Inception is better, but beforehand, you pulled people that year. Like, what are you guys looking forward to? Inception, or are you looking forward to, I don't know, what's coming out that year, Spider-Man 3 or something like that?
Well, the funny thing about Inception is when it came out, it made a boatload of money. Here's what the Hollywood analysts said about it: total fluke, totally lucky. Before they're like, it's going to be death of that studio, it's going to be totally crappy. When it came out, made money, that's a fluke. They don't want to bet on this stuff. They don't want to bet on new stuff. They're going to be going back to that well of the things that we're used to. So if you're looking for innovation, if you're looking for creativity, if you're looking for something that's different, odds are you're not going to find it at your local Cineplex every weekend. Where you will find it, I think, is from this weird in-between that we were talking about. From guys over at Rooster Teeth, from these web series that are starting to come out. We're at the dawn of that. We're not quite all the way through it. We're not in the middle of it. We're at the very beginning of that. At the point where if you create content, you can find an audience for it. And that audience can potentially support that content without the middlemen, right? Because if you make something, traditionally Hollywood is middlemen. They're there to set you up to get distribution in the theaters. They're that step between making something and exhibition. If you don't need that anymore, that's a totally different game all of a sudden. And it's like sort of where we're at the dawn. It's a really exciting time for us as guys who make videos, and also it's a really exciting time for people who consume videos too, because it's like you have this whole just buffet of content available for you. You can pick what you like, and you don't have stuff sort of shoved down your throat. You can pick what you like, and you can support what you like, and it's a mechanism that you can actually finally do. So for creative people, it's like fantastic. It's like you find your audience, you support yourself off that audience, you make a living off of it. So you can't ask for anything more if you, honest to goodness, you actually enjoy doing what you do. It's awesome. And
where things are going is that basically new IPs, new creative, where it's coming from is online. Basically, it'll no longer be developed in movies in big budget form, but be coming out of online and be coming out of TV. And then later, once it's been proven with audiences, that's when it can go to the $200 million production.
And I don't know, I'm really pumped for that. And this is like an example of that. Like Rooster Teeth, this is like exactly what this is. This is a group of people, right? From all over the place. And we're all here for something we saw online, or listened to online. And we can support that. This is something you could never have done before. This is literally a once-in-a-lifetime shift in how the entertainment industry works. And all of us here, we're at the dawn of that, which is awesome. I think it's great. I think that there's going to be more events like this. There's going to be more of everything. There's going to be more web series. There's going to be more cool stuff online. And it's because of you guys. It's because of what we have available to us that we're able to do it. So, I'm super pumped for it. I don't know about you guys, but I think it's a really great time to be making stuff. It's a really great time to be watching stuff online. Yeah.
One last story.
One last story before we send you off on your way.
And this is one that didn't really fit with our presentation.
But I did have to tell it, because this is my personal experience with red versus blue. So I went to film school with a guy who was older. He was a little bit older than us. He was sort of running through the film program, but he was older than everyone else. And I got a call from him. I worked on some of his movies. I got a call from him and said, "Hey, dude, do you know these guys? What is it like chicken? Is it Rooster Teeth? You guys know those Rooster Teeth guys?" I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "What do they do again?" I was like, Red versus Blue. Yeah, that's it. I used to live with those guys. I ran into them the other day. Like, really? Like, what? He's like, yeah, dude. Like, have you ever watched it? Like, yeah. Do you know a character named Vic? I was like, yes, Victor, I do. And he goes, I think they based him off of me. And like, in that moment, I was like, holy crap. So much makes so much more sense right now. So unbelievably, I know the real life Vic. And it's a very interesting thing to see that on the screen. So, everybody, please be safe, stay hydrated, and have yourself a fantastic weekend here at Rooster Teeth Expo 2012. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Technically, we have more time, and I see that they've set up microphones and podiums out there. So, I don't know, let's do a little chat. Let's talk to you guys. Let's do a little conversation. How's that? Who wants to do that? I don't mind if you guys leave and want to go play Halo. That's
They
cool
blocked
too.
off an hour and we just took a half hour. We're all done.
So yeah. So the microphones are standing in the middle of the aisles there, and I assume that they got audio going to them. So anybody wants to step up, beatbox, rap, anything, feel free. This will be the Q&A section of our, I guess.
So let's talk a little bit.
Let's talk a little bit. If you guys have better places to be, I don't mind. Do we have audio going to those mics? Go ahead.
Talk into it. See.
Talk into it.
Oh, there it is. Audio guys are on it.
Man, way better than we were.
Freddie and I one time we were working in a
Oh,
bed.
no. Okay, hold on.
Pull up the picture.
Hold on, I'll pull the picture. Don't go to the computer yet. Oh, man.
Okay, so basically we were working this event. We were in the back, and it was one of the only times we were actually together where we set this thing up, and we're sitting in the back, and it was like a long conference, and everyone was talking for ages and ages about this boring dribble, and everybody's out of it. And Freddie's browsing the internet back there, we're kind of like, monitoring the sliders, and suddenly, are you gonna get to it? Are you gonna get to the time?
I got crazy WPM, bro, but not that fast.
Your mic's not on. He says he's gonna
Crazy
get to it.
WPM. We'll get to it. Hold on 1 second.
Oh. So Freddie pulls up a picture online, and we're sitting back. You know those moments where you start to feel that urge to laugh, right? But it's the situation where you absolutely cannot laugh. And we're sitting back there, and it just started chuckling out of control, and just like rocking in our seats. Pull up the picture. Where is it?
Hold on. Reserve seats.
Okay. Full screen it.
Can we go to the computer? There we go. We saw this.
This picture, we just started. It was out of control, and it went on for minutes, and we kept on looking back.
And by the way, this is like a serious conference. Like, well, not a good conference to be cracking up the deep bag. We're sitting like, look at this dog.
And we go,
Best dog ever. So we're bad audio guys. So anyway, let's go to the mics.
yeah, let's go. Go for it.
Go for it.
Now that you finished Video Game High School, do y'all think y'all are going to do any more web series like that?
Yes. We are totally fans of like that longer form. And we're not like discriminating. We're not like, oh, we can't do like short 1-minute videos. And we're like, no, we can't do long form series. We want to do more long form series. We have all kinds of crazy ideas for more stuff. So that's what we're going to be kind of shifting to. We'll still be doing the shorts or we do stuff that I think we've been sort of building our bread and butter off of. But yeah, long form stuff, everything in between. That's the cool thing about web series too. It's like, it doesn't have to be feature length. That's the rule when we're making movies. Movies have to be, when we're making them for direct to DVD, have to be like 72 minutes long exactly, otherwise they couldn't sell it. Right? So we're sitting there being like, crap, we need to shoot another scene because we're at 9.3 minutes and we need another 2-minute scene. So we go out and shoot something like random dialogues and then throw it in there like, okay, we need more long cutaways of like nature in order to fill out this time. The web series is like, you just make it and whatever length it is the right length it is, which is like totally awesome. If you've ever had to like, it's literally the equivalent of having a term paper and needing to fill out another like 3 paragraphs. Obviously those 3 paragraphs aren't that good. So yeah, we're doing a lot more longer form stuff in the coming months.
Yeah, we're planning a future season of VJHS, as well as other web series, as well as all the above.
We'll ping pong to the left.
Cool, can you hear me? Cool.
Yes.
All right, so tomorrow there's a production shoot with Rooster Teeth at 6 in the morning. Are you guys going to be involved in any way?
Nope. You lost me at 6 a.m. I don't know. If they want us, we'll be there.
If they want us, we'll be there. We'll have to drag ourselves out of bed, but
Wimbledon starts soon.
that's true. Wimbledon's going to brand intense.
Do you guys tend to like your earlier stuff because it's more nostalgic, or your later stuff because you've grown more as?
It's kind of interesting. We have this sort of like weird sort of back and forth because we actually don't have a lot of time. We rarely just go back and watch our stuff, and there's a lot of nostalgia about the older stuff because we get to see like our place before it got trashed by all these film productions. We get to see like what we used to live in. We used to. When we first lived together, we all rented out a loft space in LA. And we used to live, we didn't have any bedrooms, it was just one giant room in the out front, and then one giant room in the back. And we all slept in the same room.
It was an 800 square foot room, so it's what.
But people would come over and be like, my bed, and then Sam and Nico in the corners, and Brad off in the other corner, and everyone's like, do you guys like sleep here? I'm like, yeah, no, it's totally cool, right? It's like, no, this is horrible. And there was no heat. And no AC, and I remember coming in once and everyone was around the oven because it's so cold. And again, we warm up the band before we get back to work. And Brandon got on the kick of just eating white rice with sriracha sauce for like 3 weeks straight. Like that was his only thing.
Samurai.
So yeah, we're nostalgic for some of that stuff, but we like to do stuff too because it's just
The interesting thing we found is on the creative end, because the problem is we always looked at filmmakers and you see like, oh, it's like the early stuff compared to the later stuff. Every career kind of follows the same arc and the same perception in audience's mind. And at the end of the day, it's like having done it ourselves now, the perception is we have an interesting perspective on it because what you see is that what you're basically competing against, because you're trying to always outdo yourself, trying to always come up with better ideas and go bigger with things and do more cool stuff. But what you're battling is people's memories with time grow fonder and fonder, and it's like the early stuff, like the first young people, like you look at like objectively, probably like Munich, like Spielberg's later works have been better than Jaws, E.T.
Sure.
Stuff like that. Like objectively, as a filmmaker, he's doing better work. But yet people say, constantly like, oh, he'll never make another Jaws, never make another E.T., never reach that pinnacle again. And so it's interesting as to see how careers change, and basically you have to engage it. So yeah, we're a fan of, every single video we make, we don't ever just make a video just to make a video. We make it because it's an idea that we're excited about, we're laughing about. Basically our internal gauge of whether something's good or not is based on how much we're laughing at ourselves. And so basically, we're always having fun doing it. So we like everything we've done pretty equally, and we're always entertained by it.
And then occasionally you come up with an idea that just is horrible. I think it's horrible. Brad, tell me your popcorn.
I come up with some more abstract ideas, and that's why Freddie and I work well together, because we kind of filter. Basically, either Freddie will come up with an idea, and then we'll talk about it, and it develops into something completely different, or I'll come up with an idea, and we talk about it, and it develops into something. So it's always hard. People are like, oh, who comes up with all the ideas? It's like, well, it's like we both kick ideas off, and then it goes back and forth, develops what it is. But I had this popcorn idea, which I still think is pretty good. I don't even remember because I think it was a dream or something. Where I had this crazy popcorn dream. But basically the idea was like, I'm like, okay, this is a great idea. We're gonna do a video. And like, all right, you're gonna be walking to a theater with popcorn, and you take one bite, and suddenly you just throw up, but instead of throw up, it's popcorn. It makes it sound like as the popcorn is flying on your mouth everywhere in the theater, it just sprays everywhere. And
That's it. Like, okay.
You're like, and that's it.
Oh, speaking of ideas, I'm just gonna throw this one out here because I'm surprised no one did it and I want to see it. Take the Kim Jong-il footage of like everyone crying, right? Occasionally it cuts to behind them, superimpose Up, like the beginning of Up onto there, so it makes it look like everyone's just crying about the beginning of I'm so surprised no one did that.
We have a long list of like borderline offensive ideas that we never do. We considered starting a different channel because we're like, this is just like the kind of thing that would just be, it's just viral gold that we could never make and put on our own channel. So we wouldn't even go into some of the ideas. It gets way worse than that.
So anyway, someone do the Kim Jong-il one. I really want to see it. I don't know who's left or right. Who's going next?
So what do you think of using DSLRs for video versus dedicated video cameras?
I think DSLRs are great. They're really, really good. Once you get into like sort of the weirder technical side of things, like if you need to shoot something for TV or whatever, you have to figure that out. But DSLRs are fantastic. They're cheap. They make things that look as good as movies that pass the parent test. So that's all that really matters, right? Everyone's like, oh, this camera looks great, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. All it needs to pass is the parent test. I go to my mom and dad, I'm like, hey, does this look good? They're like, wow, that looks really good. That's good, right? So everyone's like, oh, look at me, this was crap. It looked all digital and everything. And I was like, Mom, what did you think about Public Enemies looking digital? She's like, what? I think Christian Bale is getting old. Like, doesn't matter. That's all that matters. You have to think about it. But yeah, DSLRs are fantastic for that. No problem.
So, like, in regards to this, like, this dawn of this new way of entertainment, new media, new way to reach people, where do you think this sustainability will come from? I mean, movies, you spend money and then you make, hopefully, more money back sending it. Yeah, you have sponsors, you have things like that on the internet, but where eventually it'll have to have if it grows larger, it'll have to have a more sustainable revenue, I would think. Where do you think that would
So where the revenue side of it comes from? That's an interesting question because not every piece of it is in place. And it's going to get there, I think. But not everything's there yet. And you're right. It's the kind of thing where there's a lot of questions there. That's part of the reason why sort of traditional media hasn't like just jumped into doing stuff online because it's not quite clear. I think that's up to the creators to come up with creative ways of doing it. For example, we kickstarted the first season of Video Game High School. And we mixed it with sort of traditional funding and sponsorship, but we had a significant portion of that budget come from Kickstarter, which is this crowdsourced funding model, which is sort of this new thing. And when we did Kickstarter, nobody had any idea what it was. And then, like, a few months afterwards, all the crazy $1 million projects, like the Tim Schafer game stuff went through. So I think, like, for example, that's one example of, like, where these sort of new methods of financing, new methods of reaching the audience and having the audience support it in a meaningful way. Kickstarter's a good example of that. So there you go. Stuff like that.
So nowadays, since videos on YouTube, just the content being uploaded, it gets so congested. What is the new way to get your video out there and get views? Because sometimes I have this scenario where I think my project's good, it's out there, but it just kind of gets piled on by all this other new content coming out.
YouTube gets a ridiculous amount of content uploaded to it every single second, every single minute of every day. And so the places that new content thrives are you have to go more niche. YouTube is like the mainstream of the internet. And so basically where you have to go is to smaller forums, and then smaller forums lead to bigger forums. And basically, as forums get smaller, they get more and more dedicated, more and more niche to different things. So basically, you have to find exactly what that content is serving and go directly to those people and expand out. You don't go straight to YouTube, or you put it on YouTube, but you don't go straight to YouTube in terms of generating people. You go to your Facebook, and then you go to a forum that's dedicated towards it, and you go to spread from there.
And if it's good enough, let's say submit to Reddit, and eventually maybe Reddit picks it up. It starts small and grows big. That's the way you have to do it. It takes time. You can't just like put something out and expect a lot of people to watch it. And it's one of those things where we get a lot of questions where it's like, okay, well, how do I do this? What should my Twitter strategy be to optimize, my fan base and everything? It's like, really, at the end of the day, and I've never seen this scenario. I've never seen a video that I watch online like, man, that video is amazing, and it has no views on it whatsoever. I've never seen that scenario. I've only seen...
You see it, but it doesn't last for long.
It doesn't last for long, exactly. If it's good, if it's honestly something that people watch and they want to share, they want to show to their friends.
And by good, we don't just mean good. We mean good as in people watch it and they feel compelled to share it to someone else, because otherwise nothing goes anywhere unless people are compelled to share it.
Exactly. That's why Coney is the most viral video of all time, which you never would have guessed 2 years ago, right? A 30-minute documentary is going to be the most viral video of all time. Are you kidding? No way. But no, because they tapped into this need to share it, because they equated action, like action against a genocidal warlord, with
very easy,
Facebook likes.
clickable,
And you just do
effort
that, and you
taking
feel
action.
exactly, and you feel fulfilled in that way. That impulse to share is what drives traffic around the internet. It's what gets you to anywhere. It's why you see anything that gets popular. So if the content is good in that way, I've never seen a scenario where it doesn't. Find the audience and find the potential for its audience. So concentrate on the content. That's the key.
Thank you.
Yes.
Will you make another portal video?
Yes,
All right,
you will.
I'm gonna give a little secret.
Give it.
I'm gonna give a secret. Okay, this is what we're working on for Portal, and it should happen really soon. Basically, with taking any sort of other like existing property, we always have an issue with just trying to regurgitate like the pure fan film. It doesn't seem to work. The audiences seem to they like it to an extent, but it's not bringing original flair to it. And so our approach to doing anything that has an existing IP in it is always trying to bring a twist to it. And so our idea of like the direction to go with Portal is that idea that we've made something called Portal Soldier. And basically, it's a portal gun that's rail mounted to the bottom of an M4.
This is the biggest problem when we were talking about doing portal stuff. It's like, what do you do with your hands? Is there one guy shooting and it switches out? Is it both hands? No. No.
So we got a rail mounted portal gun. It's about this big. It's all the props all built, and we're gonna basically put it on the bottom of a rifle and have the portal soldier. So go back and forth between portal guns and bullets, and it's gonna be awesome.
So yes.
And it'll be, what's your name? What's your name? Say it again.
Marley.
Marley. We dedicated Marley.
We're on the left.
The last guy whose mic actually stole my first questions, lost another.
All right.
How does y'all's writing process work? When y'all sit down and think of an idea, where do you go once you already have your idea?
Well, for us, it's kind of different strokes, different folks. Let's get that out there first. And secondly, for us, we kick stuff around. It was very improvisational. It's just sort of like for dialogue, for example. Like Brandon may look a little bit tan because we just got back from Belize and we were shooting something down there, and we had a dialogue sequence there. And it was just literally kicking it back and forth a little bit, improvising, and then once we figured it out, going from there. So there's no real writing process. We kind of have the objective for whatever we need to get across, and we want to get that across in a succinct and concise way.
It starts with an idea, and then we kind of develop it into a concept, come up with kind of a beginning, middle, and end for it. And then we kind of know the scenes we're going to have within. At that point, break down the scenes, and then once it gets to the time to do the scenes with the actors, we'll lose idea what the dialogue is, but we kind of start kind of running through it, kind of talking through it, and kind of that's how we find dialogue that sounds natural, doesn't sound completely forced. It's kind of like just you have to hear it and work through it. So very, very improvisational, very, very open.
So y'all don't have a detailed script? Or you
No script.
We'll storyboard. The closest we go to come to storyboards is we'll take like a video camera and just sort of act out the scene in like some basic action beats, so we know like, okay, we're gonna cut to this part, we're gonna cut to this part, me diving like this, and then we'll cut back to this. But that's it.
And that's for the shorts. For VGHS, we had full-on script. Everything was all written out traditionally.
Yeah, as a film major, I actually had a question. On your sets, exactly how much people do you have on crew, and exactly how elaborate do you guys light, get audio, and film the scenes, and how long does it usually take you guys?
Shooting generally takes about a day. It's never like really complex. We never really do like huge crews. Obviously, VGHS is the exception. We went much more sort of traditional film stuff looking on that one. But for our short stuff,
Bare minimum.
the reason why Brandon's not in a lot of videos is basically someone needs to hold the camera.
Yeah, no, I always operate camera, and basically for a lot of videos, it'll be just Freddie and I, and maybe one other. We've got a guy that does BTS stuff. We'll bring in, just your friends, whoever's around to be in it. But outside of basically, whenever you watch a video, look for the shot with most people in it, and then add one for me on the camera, and that's basically who's there. So we go bare minimum, because our philosophy with it is that in order to make action, in order to shoot fast, in order to make a project that ends up having energy, you need to move fast. And the weight on set is not just the weight of your equipment. You want to keep that down. It's also the weight of people, or also count as weight. Any part that's there is inertia. And hard to get it moving, hard to make it go fast. And so we try to strip it down to the bare minimum amount of people, bare minimum amount of equipment, and make it happen move fast. And we feel that basically the entertainment of the piece should start with on set. If everyone's not having fun, if we're not as directors, if we're not putting on a show and basically making sure people engage, just like a host of a party, we make sure that no one's standing around bored and make sure everyone has something to do involved, and that's how you get a fun, entertaining product at the end.
I love the direction that you're going, the originality of VGHS. I'm curious how necessary you think it is to use more referential or topical content to build a foundation from scratch, like you mentioned, Portal, etc. How important was that to you guys, and how much would you preach for other people to do the same kind of thing?
Sort of naturally, we like video games. So like video game stuff kind of infuses into what we do. So like we did a video called Aimbot, and there's like a direct Counter-Strike reference in it, but not because I was sitting there being like, oh, we're going to do a Counter-Strike. It was because, oh, I remember these guys bunny hopping in Counter-Strike. I should just jump around like that. So it's the kind of thing where it's just like naturally, I think, who we are, that sort of falls into it. But look at growth of some of these other major channels and look at what they're referencing. Heavy Mealtime, one of the fastest growing of all time. No reference to it. It's its own original thing. Jenna Marble, same thing, It doesn't need to be. It has to be natural to who you are.
Referencing back to what you mentioned earlier about not being able to compete with the people who put in the hours, put in the days, and put in the weeks as far as videos go. How do you get you know, there's two of you, and you obviously sometimes need more. How do you get people excited or to collaborate with you that are basically, hey, make this video with us. It's not going to make any money. It's going to be a lot of work, but this is a project we're working on. And how do you get people together?
Well, you can't start from nothing, for sure. You know, I think you need to start somewhere, and you need to start with what you have available to you and build from that. So you can't just right away be like, all right, guys, we're going to do this. This is going to be a 15-minute short. It's going to be my director's real piece. And then I need 20 people, and you guys are going to volunteer for 3 minutes straight. You can't just go straight to that. You have to start with something that's just you and maybe your close friend, and then build from there and have something that's interesting. If it's cool, if it's fun, if you keep it fun, and you don't make it seem like work, that helps. A cooler full of delicious beverages helps. Good catering helps. You know, like stuff like that.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Yes.
You mentioned how the major motion studios reviewed and how they reacted to Inception. You know, they called it a fluke. They said it would bomb. You know, how long will it take, in your opinions, for Hollywood to open up and be receptive to new and creative ideas?
It's a tough one because you got to consider Hollywood as a money-making machine first and foremost. You know, it's a business. So
there's very the truth is it's while we know it's it's not a fluke because we know who did it. The fluke that they're referring to is not that Christopher Nolan managed to make this thing. It's a fluke that a guy like Christopher Nolan exists, or because the list of filmmakers who can actually produce a piece of content like that, they can operate on a big budget and make a lot of money with fresh IP. Is very small. And so I think that's more the fluke that they think. It's not that oh, you know, this guy he gave the same situation and he would produce another hit.
There is that element there too, though. To be honest, I saw the same thing where I was like, well, whether there's one gonna like it. So you know what it is it's until right now it's just like that stuff is not safe bet. It's a chicken egg thing, right? It's like, well, it's not safe bet because you guys aren't betting on it. Well, it's not safe bet, you know, right? So it's gonna be a while, and because at the end of the day, you got to look at it from the perspective of this is a group of people who all have jobs, they got a nice income, they go home to their families, they want to keep those jobs. Anything risky puts that job at risk, right? So if I was working and I'm making a good salary and I got a 401k that I'm building up and I got health benefits, I'm not going to put my neck out on the line for some, you know, kid fresh out of film school with a cool idea. It's like, it's not worth it. It's not worth my own livelihood. So it'll be a while because that's just sort of how the system goes.
For every one Inception, there's been 10 John Carters where they basically got really big and got burned. So the track record of it is very poor.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We're gonna go quick here, try and get the rest of these people out.
What is your relationship with the neighbors that you live next to?
Have a good relationship with your neighbors.
Except for one. She is moving to Scotland in 1 month.
Yes.
For free. Here's the thing, it's a test of theory of mine, because every single place I've ever lived has, and I'm sure you guys had a similar experience, always has that one neighbor that's a pain in your ass. So it's the one neighbor for everyone. Whenever there's a party, they're the one that calls the cops. Whenever there's anything.
Real quick, here's an example. We gave her our phone numbers, and we're like, if there's any problems, anything, you want to talk to us, call us. We will stop it. We want to be good neighbors, all that stuff. Never has she called that number. She goes straight to the cops. It's like, you have our number. Why would you not call us? Do you want us to stop this?
Fortunately, the LAPD watches all our videos every week. So.
Have a good relationship. When we first started out, we let everybody know what we were doing. You know, we showed them what we were doing. When it comes out, like, hey, this is what we were doing on the street last week and all that. Have a good relationship with the neighbors.
Yeah, so my theory is I think she's going to move out. My theory is that the new neighbor is going to materialize out of nowhere, that becomes the complainer. We'll see. Maybe we'll be free, but I hope so.
Have you guys ever played any video games?
No, never. Wait, sorry.
And if you have, what are your favorites?
All right, Brandon.
My favorite games, so I'll give you a couple. All time are Heroes Quest, which got renamed Quest or Glory, back in 1987. Whoa, for MS-DOS.
Better than MS Uno.
we have a guy that works for us that says, no joke, he's like MS-DOS, and we're like, no. But yeah, so Heroes Quest was his original name, and Vagrant Story, Vagrant Story.
Right. For me, it's also Final Fantasy 70.
I love Final Fantasy 70.
For me, I'm old school, like shooter, so Quake 2 CTF back in the day. I see a couple heads nodding. I've been playing a lot of Tribes recently, and it's it's so refreshing, right? To compare to the usual, because like Call of Duty is like, I spawn, I die. I spawn, I die. It's like a very sort of Buddhist meditation on the nature. Whereas Tribes is about sheer speed and exhilaration, so that's my sort of go-to at the moment. And also Trials, so just anything and everything.
Trackmania.
Oh, Trackmania. All them European servers with all that techno. Anyway.
Trackmania got ruined for us. One time we logged into a server late one night with Nico and Sam, and it was like, it was the best server we'd ever played. Every single course was amazing, and it was like the best techno track to go with it.
So much good techno.
Everything custom, and after that, every time we played, we just talk about that one night.
Also DayZ. Any friendlies in Chernobyl? Any friendlies in Chernobyl? No, there's never any friendlies in Chernobyl. All right, last question. I just got the little prompt, so decide amongst yourselves.
I think the best part about internet, like YouTube videos, are when people like internet celebrities like do crossovers and like they mix and match their styles and whatnot. Are you ever going to do more of like crossovers with other like internet celebrities?
Yeah, we'd love to. I mean, it's a matter of time and timing and everything, because everybody is so busy nowadays. But yes, we would love to. That is all the time we have here. If you have any more questions for us, we'll be floating around the convention. We'll be checking out that Halo. So, thanks very much, everybody, for hanging around for an hour with us. I hope you guys have an awesome extra.